Well, good morning and welcome to First Things First. Today is Monday, and hang on, it's Monday, September 13th, and just going right through the month. It seems like um, flying by anymore, but anyways, we're here and we're glad that you've joined us today for our weekday devotion. Hope that the Lord will bless you through this day. We've got much to pray about today. Let's continue to remember. Let's always remember those that were in the attacks at September 11th, 20 years ago. We had the anniversary just this past Saturday, and been thinking about that all weekend, and even before that. But thinking about the survivors and thinking about the family members of those that lost loved ones on that day, just still heartbreaking, still hard to think about. And we learned some things on September 11th, 2001 that we didn't want to learn about. We learned about a lot of fear and a lot of problems, but I'm glad that God's grace is sufficient for all of our needs. And I remember uh, talked about it a little bit yesterday at the service, but remember the day afterwards and how that people started filling into the churches and people started praying. And we miss those times that people were trusting in God and looking for answers from God during those times, and they were looking for it at the church. And um, it was almost a revival broke loose, but too many people let go too soon. And just a couple months later, it seemed like everything was back to some kind of a normal, and the church, anyways, and people weren't seeking anymore whenever they found out exactly what was going on, and whenever situations rose. But anyways, I can't get into all that this morning. Don't have time. But just remember those this morning, and remember all those that are sick and afflicted, all those that are going through COVID, and those that are on the front lines of COVID, the nurses and the doctors that are trying to help there, and in the hospitals. The hospitals are full right now, so let's do remember them in prayer. And let's remember uh, those that are going through other problems. I ask you to remember my wife today. She did very well with her knee surgery again, but it seems like it now she has some bleeding or some fluid from her knee that's coming out, and was probably going to have to take her back to the doctor today. So I ask you to remember her in prayer, and remember Sandra Castle in prayer, and many others this morning, Sister Dessa, and so many others this morning that are sick, and Brother Larry, and these people in our church that need your prayers this morning. But also ask you to remember, um, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm a little choked up, but remember Bobby Tipton in your prayers also, if you would. He's back in the hospital, and there's not much that they've been able to do with him. They've given him 2 pints of blood, and it just seems like they're trying to get the swelling to go down in his body, but he's having heart failure, and that's um, so let's do remember him in prayer. Lord knows that need, and that's Sister Angie, um, Sister Angie's uncle. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read and trying to get around a couple of things at one time, multitasking. I miss it, but that is Sister Angie's uncle this morning, Bobby Tipton. So she asked us especially to do remember him in prayer, and let's pray for him, and as only God can intervene as he's back in the hospital. So remember him in prayer. But today, the verse of the day comes from uh, 1 Peter let me make sure. Let's see. I had 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. Okay, I was looking at verse 4 for some reason. I knew that didn't look familiar, but 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 8, which says, "Finally be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another, love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous." And this morning is, if we do come together in one mind, one accord, and in these things, we're going to pray for one another. And just as we mentioned there, oh, I'm running a little bit behind, but we are going to be praying for one another, and we're praying for you and praying that the Lord will strengthen you through these days. And we know that you have a lot of prayer needs, a lot of concerns on your heart. So please just know that we are praying for you. And if you have a special situation that you'd like us to pray about, please let us know about that, and we'll definitely be praying for you. But as we look at that verse 8, it says, "Finally be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another." And that's something that's missing a lot in our world today, is compassion and caring for one another. It said, "Love as brethren, be pitiful." Now, it does mean to be pitiful here. It doesn't mean that we usually put that in a negative sense, pitiful and pathetic. But that's not what it means. It means to be full of pity and having compassion, having your care about somebody, and you have that pity for somebody enough that you're going to pray for them and that you're going to take them to God. So this morning, here in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 8, pitiful is a good thing, actually. Pitiful is being full of pity for others, that you have that burden for somebody, that you're going to pray for them. And it says, be courteous. So let's remember these things as we go through the day and through these dark times in this world that we're living in. And let's remember to be courteous to one another. Let's remember to care for one another, and full of the pity of the love of God. Not that we're look down on somebody, but that we care enough about them to pray about them, to think about them. So let's remember these things today, and let's remember to put first things first, and hope that God will bless you through this week, and that God will strengthen you as our prayers. Have a blessed day.